including at least partially exposing himself. These are the facts of the case.
Right.
What you hear in the news lines are, man in women's swimsuit gets arrested. Man gets arrested wearing women's thong.
Oh.
Man gets arrested. Man in green racerback gets arrested. Obviously, this guy was not doing good things. The spokesperson claims he has a fetish. He was wearing a women's green racerback swimsuit. But what he was arrested for was, obviously, over the course of a week, there were a couple women canoeing in the river. He swam out into the river to chase them down, calling them names, verbally abusing them.
Wow.
He walked around the neighborhood over the course of the week, verbally abusing people he came across, women that he came across.
Wow.
And whether the swimsuit was insufficient to cover himself or whether he actively exposed himself, people complained about his genitals popping out. So he's
Okay.
So he was legitimately arrested on counts of menacing and public indecency that had absolutely nothing to do with the fact that he was wearing a women's swimsuit in public. But that is all you hear out of the news media, is
Sure.
that he was wearing a women's swimsuit and he got arrested, because that's what's sensational.
Yeah,
So I
which is
want to
unfortunate.
try and point out to the 12 people who are watching tonight, you have to dig into these stories, because the news media is just going to make the sensational titles. So few of them actually care about making a good story.
Yeah.
This person legitimately did bad things. He happened to have a fetish for women's swimwear, apparently. And the police said, we still have to treat this seriously. We're very happy to get him off the streets before anything serious happened.
Okay. I don't know. No
But
matter,
again, this is a guy that would have gone around and mistreated women, whether he was wearing the swimsuit or not.
Yeah.
Whatever jollies he got out of screaming at women, calling them names,
Yeah, it's a big world with a lot of people in it, and no matter what you do, there are going to be some crazies out there that are just going to.
Well, and again, I don't know about Sugar Creek Township, but gender expression, a guy wearing a women's swimsuit is not going to prevent somebody from committing crimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether it's protected by the law in the Sugar Creek Township or not.
Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to bring that up because when I heard the story, it almost infuriated me.
Yeah.
Because the wrong things were being focused on. Here's a guy who was threatening and menacing people and exposing himself in public, and he was doing totally inappropriate behavior, and he got arrested for the inappropriate behavior. However, wearing the women's swimsuit was not the inappropriate behavior he was being arrested
Right.
for.
Of course. And that's what they focus on.
And that's what they focus on, and that's what I felt the need to stress.
Yeah. I think that's human nature, too. Sensationalizing everything.
Well, when you're shooting for ratings, I guess so.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But I did see this thing. I think Tambria sent me this one. Tambria sends me everything. But this was interesting. This was about this is actually sort of a good story. But this was out of Sacramento. Apparently, there's a radio talk show at KRXQ in Sacramento, and apparently one of the hosts of this had made a comment, rather unfortunate comment, referring to transgender people as freaks with mental disorders. Apparently there has been some disciplinary action there because, and this is the good part, apparently Bank of America, Verizon, and Chipotle and other companies pulled advertising because of that. So I think that there is actually starting to be some sensitivity about that. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So good for them.
And that's always the threat, is your advertisers will pull funding, and for years people have been able to say they're not going to care, and it's nice to see that starting to change.
Yeah, it's like, and that's good. It's like That's the way it has to be. We have to.
Yep, and those companies don't have to really stand up and publicly support transgender rights in any way.
Right.
They just have to support, not being mean to people
Sure.
in a weird abstract way. Don't be mean.
Yeah. Anyway, good for them.
Yes, good for them.
I was glad to see that. We're making progress.
Yep.
And things are going to get said, things are going to happen, but every little bit helps, and I think overall we're doing pretty good.
Speaking of every little bit helps,
okay.
There's a possibility that according to the Advocate, the U.S. Senate leadership has settled on passing hate crimes legislation, which would expand the existing federal law to include crimes motivated by a victim's actual or perceived sexual orientation, gender identity, or disability, as an amendment to another bill rather than voting it up or down on its own. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's not certainly not preferable
Right.
to stick it on another bill, but we certainly also know that the legislators, starting with our own here in Connecticut,
Yeah.
are a little gun shy right now of dealing with discrimination and hate crimes issues.
Yeah. Yep, and we are certainly going to have some of them on our show, and we will get to talk to them in person about it.
I wonder if recent news is starting to change their opinion at all.
Yeah. Oh.
3 extremist murders in the last week or 2.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Something that we're working on.
Yes, in fact the folks in Massachusetts are trying to rally support right now for the transgender rights in Massachusetts that our own judiciary didn't take up this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's headed up. If you know anyone in Massachusetts, have a chat with your friends and family.
Sure. We are certainly going to be doing a lot of phone calls to our legislators. Hopefully, we'll get something passed next year. Hopefully.
Well, not unlike this. There may still be some time left.
Yeah, I don't. Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
I'm hopeful. I'm an eternal optimist. But certainly, the bill failed to get out of the Judiciary Committee, and I did invite the co-chairs of the Judiciary Committee, Lawler and McDonald, to come on our show. I thought Lawler was going to actually do it.